Hello and welcome back, or welcome if you're new. Today we are going to hang out in my traveler's notebook. Inside my traveler's notebook, I've kind of decorated it for Christmas and the winter, and I do a video on that. I will link it both in the cards and down in the description below for you. But for today, we're going to work in my reading journal. I'm just going to do a couple of pages for December, and I thought I'd bring you along with me. Back in October, I started a reading journal and just kind of keeping track and just making a couple of fun pages to keep track of my reading and if I was doing any readathons and things like that, to write down quotes of books that I was reading when I started them, that type of thing. So for November, I ended up just making a list of the books that I read it. I didn't do anything really much more creative than that. So I'm just leaving space to finish up writing that down. And then as you can see, the book is really super simple. It's just some dot grid paper, and it's loose leaf in there. I didn't even bother to staple it in there because when I put it in my traveler's notebook, it stays pretty well. I just grabbed some winter like washi, except for that cactus one. I put it back because I was like, oh, that is not winter. But these birds are pretty cute. So I grabbed some washi, and at this point, I don't really know yet what I'm going to do. I just know that I want to do a couple creative pages for the month of December. So here I'm going to struggle a little bit with my washi tape. I just can get it unrolled for a second. I am going through a little bit of a phase where I am trying to use up the planner supplies that I have and try really hard not to purchase any new ones. So I'm just trying to use up what I have. This washi tape, I believe, was from like a year or two ago, a set either from Michael's or Hobby Lobby. This stamp is super cute. It's a little girl that is balancing on a stack of books. I believe I purchased her from a scrapbook expo a few years back, but I hardly use my stamps, and I just thought this was the perfect one to use for my reading journal. So I'm going to stamp her in there, and then I'm just going to really simply write the month of December. There is going to be kind of a bigger space there, but I'm not quite sure what I want to do with that yet. So I'm going to leave it blank. You'll see in a second. So this is just a regular ink pad that I've had for quite some time. I also take out my mile liners, and that's what I'm going to write. Just with a little bit of a baby wipe there. If I don't have a baby wipe, I will also use like a paper towel, a damp paper towel. I know this is not the best way to clean off your stamps, or I just think it's not because the ink doesn't fully come off of my stamps, especially when I use a dark ink like black. But it works well enough where I can restamp it again. So that's all I've been using for the past few years. I'm going to carefully put it away because if I don't get my supplies put away right away, I tend to lose them on the table or I tend to just dump it all and it becomes a big mess. Comment down below and let me know if your scrap areas are always a hot mess too. So here I'm just showing you, I'm drinking a little bit of tea. This is pumpkin spice Rubios. This was from Trader Joe's, a little treat that we got for ourselves back in October. And I just thought a nice cozy cup of tea would be great as I was getting ready to finish up this reading journal for December. I think just a nice warm beverage and reading goes kind of hand in hand. So I'm looking at it and trying to decide what I want to do next. And I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and color in the stamp. I'm going to grab some colored pencils and color her in. These are the colored pencils that I just kind of keep on my desk in a little cute mug. They're not anything fancy at all. They're just some pencils from Joanne Essentials, I believe. So they're probably just like the name brand Joanne pencils. And I got these years ago. Honestly, just found them in my stash when I was trying to clean out my planner supplies. So I put them in a pretty mug and I keep them out on my desk when I feel like I want to add a little bit more color to things. And honestly, having them out and at the ready has helped so much, just in the sense where I like to color. I like for things to be pretty. I like to be creative. I'm not the best at it, but it is therapeutic in ways and it is helpful. And so having them out and out there ready just makes things so much easier. I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up fully or if it's getting mixed in with the dot grid paper, but on the dress, there are these little polka dots. And so what I'm doing is just kind of coloring around them first so that I can get the base of her dress colored. I think that I'm going to go ahead and do Christmas colors. So traditional Christmas colors, red and green. I'm going to color her dress red and then I'm going to do the little And for this video, I just went ahead and did a couple pages. I didn't really have a big theme or anything like that. I honestly just wanted to get into my journal and, like I said, do something creative. I am not the best at it by any means, but having a creative outlet really helps, I find. And so this is just one of the ways that I try to have that creative outlet. So earlier, I went in and kind of just sketched out what I thought I wanted to do with this page, and I'm using colored pencils, so they're not going over the regular pencil as dark as if I would have used like a marker or something like that, but I don't really mind. So I'm going to erase some of the things and then go over it with colored pencil, and then you'll see in a little bit I don't end up erasing everything. I kind of just darken the lines of the pencils, of the colored pencils. For this page, I just wanted to do kind of a generic setting or kind of layout for that I could use for any book. So up on top, I'm going to just mark red, and that is where I will put the title of the book. And then I'm going to also leave space for when I started the book and when I completed it. And then in a little bit, I'm going to kind of make a little thought bubble, and that is where I'm going to put the thoughts that I had on the book, whether I enjoyed it or I didn't, or if there was anything about the story that really stood out to me, things like that. Just my general thoughts on the book. And then as I'm reading, I like to pull out quotes from the book that I'm reading. So, especially ones that make me laugh or really think. So, I am going to make a little quote box. I'm going to attempt to make a little quote box for any quotes that I might find from the book. And then on the next page, I'm going to mark down that I have finally finished Pride and Prejudice. This book took me a little longer than most books because, well, it was a little harder to read, but it was a very, very good classic. I loved this book. I did not expect it to be so funny. I don't know. I don't know what I expected. I've been wanting to read more classics, but yeah, I just thought this was really funny, and I'm excited to figure out what next Austen book I want to read. So in the corner there, I've just drawn a little heart with a D plus E for Darcy and Elizabeth. And then I'm going to write down one of my favorite quotes. It's either earlier in the book. Mrs. Bennet says, "Oh, Mr. Bennet, how can you tease me so? Have you no passion for my poor nerves?" And Mr. Bennet responds to her, "You mistake me. I have the highest respect for them. They've been my constant companion these 20 years." I thought Mr. Bennet was hilarious. This is the dad that everybody just kind of knows. If it's not your dad, you know a dad like this. Their dry sense of humor, it was great. I thought Mr. Bennet was just such a wonderful character. I enjoyed Darcy and Elizabeth as well, but really, Mr. Bennet, he just has some of the best lines. And so I'm just marking it down, and I just have a little arrow there. It says hilarious and love this dad. So I could have probably written 20,000 more quotes on Pride and Prejudice, but I felt like that was enough just to kind of have me remember the wit and charm of Mr. Bennet. And then, honestly, since I don't know what I'm going to finish reading off December with, I do want to read Dickens' A Christmas Tale. I also had hopes to reread the Harry Potter series. And then I fell in love with the classics by Austen. And I also really like I'm reading the Anne of Green Gables series. So I'm just going to decorate the last two pages kind of generic again. I'm just going to put some cozy stickers down, things that remind me of reading. So, like a warm mug of hot beverage, things like that. These stickers were gifted to me. So I'm not quite sure where they came from, but they're just little random stickers. And so I'm just going to decorate really sparingly with it so that I can go back in and write down whatever I want for that, so that I can decorate however or write down whatever I need to for that section. I'm not sure again how much reading I'm going to get done this month, but I have the space there, and then I can always add more pages if I need to. So that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm doing just a couple creative pages into my reading journal. Comment down below and let me know if you keep a reading journal or what you're reading this season. I would love some good recommendations. And again, thank you so much for spending your time with me. I truly, truly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, would you be sure to give it a thumbs up? And if you aren't already, maybe consider subscribing and joining our little YouTube family. And if you are already a subscriber, thank you so, so much. It truly means so much to me and my family.